I have a hunch that if people eat really fast and are standing up while doing it, the result would be heartburn. That's a hunch. And one might say, sure, that definitely seems plausible. It seems like common sense. But a scientist cannot think that way. Everything needs to be tested. You have to have empirical evidence. So if you're going to test my theory, it needs to be done in a specific way, which is the scientific method. So let's use my hunch about eating really quickly and getting heartburn. So I've got to come up with my hypothesis, which is my statement, my testable prediction. And my testable prediction, I was saying, is if people eat fast and are standing while eating, they will have heartburn. That's my hypothesis. So this hypothesis that I have has to be testable. And when I test it, I'm either going to say, oh yeah, yes, they definitely do get heartburn, or we're going to reject it. No, that does not cause heartburn. Or we may have to revise it, or it could be null or void. It just, there is no uh, enough evidence to come to a conclusion. So hypotheses are very important to science because they give direction to research. But of course, I actually work for a heartburn medicine company, so I really, really want to be right about my theory. So because of this, I may only see what I want to see. And what do I want to see? I want to see people get heartburn, so then they're going to buy my medicine and the stocks will go up and everything will be hunky-dory. So um, people could say something neutral or ambiguous, and we take it as confirming our theory, but it may not be so. Maybe I just felt a tickle in my throat and it really wasn't heartburn at all, but I really wanted to be right, so I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, that's heartburn. But it wasn't. So in order for me to put a check on those biases, okay, no grant money for me, psychologists report the research with precise operational definitions of procedures and concepts. So think of it this way. This is a good word for you to know. Operational definitions. One defines something in terms of the operations that count as measuring it. Okay? So, for example, human intelligence may be operationally defined as what an IQ score measures. That would be your operational definition. So these definitions allow the researchers to replicate the original observations with different participants, materials, and circumstances. If the results are similar with different participants, different materials, different circumstances, they have confidence in the findings and feel that they're accurate. So, it's really, really important. So, we've got to take those operational definitions, we've got to take our hypothesis, and we're going to test the hypothesis and refine the theories using descriptive methods. These methods are designed for the researcher to gather information about the presenting existing conditions. All right? Now, descriptive methods can describe behavior through case studies, surveys, naturalistic observation. We collect data in order to test the hypothesis. We are calling these research methods. That's what I call them. I took a class in undergrad and grad school on research methods, and they have all different types. So let's review some of these research methods. They're important, and you certainly will be tested on them later on. So number one is a case study. A case study is one of the oldest research methods. And what it is, a case study, and many of you probably already know what it is, it's an in-depth examination of one individual, just one. The hope of this case study is to reveal something that is true to us all. Of course, you can be totally misled by this because just studying one person, it can be very vague and it really may not have anything to do with all of us. But it definitely has some importance, and Freud, who we'll be talking about throughout this semester, he did a case study of a woman named Anna O. That wasn't her real name, but he studied her for years and years and years, and really became the basis of all of his psychoanalysis, his theories, his talking about unconscious drives and motivation. So it definitely has some value as far as the research methods. Another one, number 2, is a survey. Now, a survey looks at many cases in less depth. I'm sure that many of you have taken a survey. Maybe you've gotten a phone call, or you bought something online and they said, "Do you mind taking this survey?" And you can kind of give them an idea of what they need to improve upon in their business. In the survey, of course, the person giving the survey, they can switch up the language a lot. They can make it biased to what they need, what they're looking for, whether it's funding or whether it's a product placement. So you have to understand that subtle changes in the wording or changing the order can have major effects on the results. Okay, so you have a survey. So let's just pretend we're going to give a survey of everyone at BCC. And you can be saying, well, Professor Lynch, that's kind of ridiculous. That would be really, really difficult to gather up everyone and try to give them a survey. So since it's, and actually this is not, there's only a few thousand students here. What if we were going to do it over at UMass Amherst? It'd really, really be difficult. So what we do is we take a random sampling. And so what you do is you try to get a representative sample. That's terminology that you need to know. Representative sample of an entire population. So say we're going to do this survey at BCC and we want to do a representative sample. And so we're going to do a random sampling, which means that out of the 2,000 students, I'm going to ask 50 students to take my survey. And my assumption is that out of that 50 people, I'm going to try to get a representative sample of all the students at BCC. So maybe I'm going to get somebody that's in their teens, maybe somebody that's in their 50s, in their 30s, somebody that's married, somebody that's single, somebody who's a criminal justice major, an arts major, a psychology major. You get the idea. So in hopes that these 50 people will represent the entire group of students at BCC. So, it's that's the best that you can do in many cases. So that is another way of looking at getting a survey done and not having to ask every single person in your population. That's the group of people that you're asking to take this survey or test something. You just want to get a group of people. So the last one is your naturalistic observation. And this is natural environment observation. This could be looking at animals in a zoo. It could be looking at children in a nursery school. Maybe you're looking at them behind a two-way mirror. You're trying to look at people in their natural environment and see if you can glean some information by watching how they interact with people. Look and check their self-awareness. Are they self-aware of their environment and the situations, the people that they're around, the other animals? And try to get information about it. It's a way that you can describe behavior, but it absolutely cannot explain behavior. So that's really important for you to know. So that's the start of our scientific method and research methods. So please continue on with the next portion, and we're going to talk about correlation, and then we're going to actually talk about the steps of the scientific method.